Welcome to V-Rising impression video, you blood-sucking bastards. In this one gonna share my thoughts on V-Rising, but strictly from single player perspective. I have no interest in PvP, but due to lack of decent vampire games decided to give V-Rising a go in single player to satisfy thirst for World of Darkness type games. Note that I've played for about 20 hours and that this is still early access, although I seriously doubt PvE will get huge revamp. Due to game being in its early days and sinking only 20 hours into it, don't consider this video as a review, it is more of a first impression. So what is V-Rising? It is PvP and PvE survival builder action RPG. Build your castle, fight other players who can raid your castle and steal all the gathered loot, stay away from the sun, fight monsters, gather resources, unlock more powers by hunting specific enemies, and that is essentially it. Unfortunately, no significant story, questing or lore, which takes away from PvE aspect. Without proper cohesion through quests, lore and story, game ends up as a sandbox experience that quickly became boring to me. Too much repetition without enough change and progress. Granted, this might change upon full release. Don't know what PvE plans are, but I'm hoping more is to come, even though I'm quite aware PvP aspect is game's biggest focus. For solo players, game offers private server with all settings imaginable left to be modified. Big kudos to devs for letting us create the game we want for ourselves. I'm talking about things such as needed crafting resources, how much materials we get through farming, loot frequency, difficulty, starting gear, and much more. Love it. Game does well things like combat and castle building. Combat is dynamic enough and not bad at all. Not brilliant, but decent enough to keep things going. I love dynamic combat in isometric hack and slash action RPG genre, much more than static combat like in Diablo and Path of Exile. Combat utilizes lots of movement and quick ability usage. Fights against tougher enemies last a bit, which is great because it requires hands-on approach at all times. Mechanic I really like is different blood type depending on creature you just fed from. Each blood type grants different buffs, and better blood quality, better the buffs. I don't like that quality ranges from 1 to 100%, with 100% being really rare. Too many enemies this way with similar blood quality, difference being couple percentages. Tiered blood ranging from 1 to 5 would work much better in my opinion. I know percentages inside each tier affect buff strength, but mechanically I think tiered blood would be better. Blood can be spent to heal up, but each time blood runs out you have to feed again, so being careful while carrying great blood is paramount. This adds tactical layer in a way, whether to engage or move away from hostiles that can be avoided in order to reach your goal. Fighting tough enemies can be frustrating due to reset mechanic. Player needs to move all the time to avoid getting hit, but that also means moving a bit too far at times, which leads to enemy reset along with their health. Very annoying mechanic that occurs too frequently. Character progression is shallow when it comes to equipment. Few sets only that are upgraded through crafting to match high level map requirements. Poor. Maybe later tons of new recipes drop for different set types that can be acquired, but in my experience only 2 types were present. There are enough abilities, but weapon ones are unlocked later with higher tier upgrades. Due to nature of combat, meaning how fast and hands-on it is, having 2 weapon skills accompanied by 4 abilities allows for decent variety mid-combat. Abilities are slotted based on type: evade, ranged, block, and ultimate. On top of that, there are out-of-combat abilities that let player transform into wolf, bat, transform humans into servants, and others. Castle building is probably strongest aspect of the game. It is well done, relatively easy to learn, looks cool, has plenty features and ways to decorate. Castle is powered by blood, which is cool idea. In it, players can build workshop, coffins for servants, castle thrones, refinement facilities, and so on. Aesthetically, game looks decent. It has cartoonish style with good enough animations that helps in preventing the game seeming lifeless. Sound design is pretty mediocre with nothing standing out, but nothing in particular sounding bad or being bothersome. Now you might think, what the hell is wrong then? Well, from one solo player perspective, V-Rising becomes boring quickly. It is fun for an hour or two, but then everything becomes too familiar without any notable change. Gameplay loop is something like this. Get resources and get back to castle to upgrade it. Hunt special enemy to unlock new powers or kill enemies for loot and get back to castle to stash it. That is it. Not much else going on. Without proper story quests, characters and lore, there is not much holding the game together if you want to play it as a single player experience. Fun for a little bit, but attention will most likely not hold for too long on V-Rising before shifting to another single player focused experience. Remember that this video is strictly from solo perspective. PvP might be tons of fun, but I wouldn't know. Maybe playing with friends on private server is way more fun than playing solo. Tell me in the comments what your experience is. From a solo player perspective, I can't recommend V-Rising. Thanks for watching, check out description for Patreon and subscribe star links if you want to help the channel further, and stay tuned for more videos.